And welcome back to the daily space weather, folks. We're looking at the sun on 171 angstroms here. Large Earth-facing coronal hole. We've seen a 6+ magnitude earthquake, originally reported as a 6.3, located at Puerto Rico, just north of the island there. 0 sunspots, and the 10.7 centimeter radial flux has dropped back down to 66. Let's look at another view. And there's the colorized magnetogram. Not a lot of organization happening there. There is a little magnetism forming right here, and otherwise pretty inactive solar disk. Again, large coronal hole in the Earth-facing zone. We'll look at the real-time solar wind in a minute. This is the last 8 hours or so. On the first full day of fall, or for you Southern Hemisphere viewers, spring. We'll go straight to earthquakes, as we have no set format on this channel, and we do whatever we want. We talk about whatever we want whenever we want to talk about it. There's that originally reported 6.3 magnitude earthquake, courtesy of the U.S. downgrade service. There's a location of that, and a series of aftershocks, all located on that same spot there, right north of Puerto Rico. So it's now been downgraded to a 6.0, and that one came through about 5 hours ago, folks. At least 5 hours from when this video was shot. Let's look at the full past 24 hours here, starting out with a 5.3 at Chile. This one almost exactly 24 hours from the time this video was made, a 5.2 at Micronesia. So a downtick in the number of quakes, but an uptick in large quakes. 4.4 in Russia, 4.7 in the Philippines, 5.3 in Alaska, out in the Aleutian Islands, 4.0 right in the same spot there, a 4.9 at Kamchatka, just south of the peninsula. There's that 6.0 at Puerto Rico, followed by a 5.1 magnitude aftershock at an even shallower depth. Check it out. And another even shallower quake there, 4.4 at 6 kilometers. Here's a 4.5 near Broome, Australia. Please leave a comment if you felt that quake. I know it's a pretty unpopulated region, right? 4.3 at Puerto Rico, another aftershock there. A deep quake at Fiji, 5.3 magnitude, 536 kilometers depth. And just a little while ago, the most recent quake, a 5.7 at Greece. Distinctly possible that it could have caused some damage. This one's located out in the ocean. By the way, there were no tsunamis associated with that Puerto Rican quake. I checked. And this one just south of the Isle of Crete. Let's talk about the funding of the channel. We need more funding to continue these videos. So why don't you become our next patron? Check us out, patreon.com/smAsho. You could also donate via PayPal, or perhaps the Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign, also linked below the video. These videos are funded by Patreon, and our patrons are the associate producers of these videos as a result. So thanks, patrons. Let's get back to the space weather. And looking at the real-time solar wind, it looks like we have an ongoing coronal hole magnetic connection here. This sputtering pretty close to the 180-degree mark there. And notice those quakes occurred when the BZ was in the negative. Solar wind density 3.27 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 309. Solar minimum conditions, folks. Next, the volcano rundown. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, as physics gets rewritten before your very eyes, folks. Volcanoes going off today include Mount Aso, where it's producing a 7,000-foot ash plume in Kyushu, Japan. Also Mount Dakono, producing a 7,000-foot plume. Popocatépetl, still exploding. 22,000-foot plume there. Revenador exploding. 15,000-foot plume there. And please do not pole vault Novatos de Chilean's caldera as it's exploding and producing a 13,000-foot ash plume. It could end in an unhealthful situation. Let's look at the Gong 2 data. And here's the top view ecliptic plane field plot. We see a little magnetic tug-of-war going on the far side of the sun there. And welcome to the north polar-oriented portion of the current sheet. We've got a couple more days before the south takes over again, assuming nothing changes. However, keep in mind, with magnetism, things can change suddenly. This data 1 hour and 15 minutes old. Next, we'll look at the magnetosphere movies to see some anomalous stuff going on in the magnetosphere. Check out the velocity. Some magnetohydrodynamic anomalies happening right now, folks. So there's the velocity. That's 4 hours worth for you new viewers. There's the density. And the magnetosphere is got an odd shape to it going on right now. Check it out. And the pressure is surprisingly high despite a very low solar wind. Probably going to see oddities in the ionosphere also here. These are just magnetism-based anomalies here, folks. This is not solar wind generated. Let's let that play through all the way there as that refreshed. See some very odd striations happening there. I have a feeling the ground magnetic perturbations are going to look odd also. Delta B, here it comes. And there's the changes in the Earth's B field. Some very anomalous situations going on there. The South Pole really looks like it's creeping into the Indian Ocean there, like it's heading to the western shores of Australia. And we see big perturbations in the North Poles also. Not only the one over northern Canada, but also the one over Siberia. I'll let that play through a third time for all you pole shift enthusiasts, as there's a lot to see. As the current passes through the planet, and indeed some of it passes right through your brain. Speaking of planets, here's where they are. I don't know how the hell many times I pressed the button there. I think I pressed the button 40 times to advance it 1 week, and I don't know where I advanced it to, so enjoy that. That's where they'll be on the 2nd of October. Here's where stars are above my head. If you want to make a star chart for yourself, check out in-the-sky.org. Put in your zip code or your city or whatever. And I like to draw in the ecliptic personally, and I like to face mine to the south, since that's where the ecliptic is, and that's the way my couch faces. Today's featured star is Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. I don't know why, not for any particular reason. It is a red supergiant, though, and it's the largest single object visible to the naked eye alone. Did you know that? If it was in our solar system, it would be the size of Mars's orbit. Have you been to Zooniverse.org's Galaxy Zoo project? Well, we need human beings to classify galaxies, as computers are incapable of doing this. So let's just show you what this entails. It's pretty easy. Now this one's got features. It's got a bulge, and now's your chance to leave a comment about bulges. It's not an edge-on disk. I do not see a bar in this one. I'm going to say weak. I'm going to say weak bar. No, I'm going to say no bar. Is there any sign of a spiral arm? Not really. I'm going to say a moderate bulge. No reference to whether or not that's what she said. Is it merging or disturbed? I'm going to say minor disturbance. And does it have any of these rare features? Well, I see a bit of a lens or arc. I see irregularities. I see dust lanes, possible overlap. And there you go. That's one galaxy classified. Check out these oddities. Now, when you do this, folks, if you head to Zooniverse.org and classify galaxies, only do the one in the middle. Don't worry about satellites and things like that. Only the central galaxy should be the one classified. And if you need help, just click on Need Some Help with this task. Zooniverse.org, the largest citizen science project in the world. It is about to close out this video, folks. We're having issues once again, technical difficulties galore. There's the US Doppler radar, and let's look at the water vapor map and call it a day. And there's the US water vapor map, courtesy of the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites. And I got nothing more to say, folks. Stay tuned for another video coming out a little later. But before that, stay tuned for one bonus feature. Just one. And it's 8 hours of your local yellow dwarf in the 304 angstroms wavelength. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. Have a plan for earthquakes if you live in an earthquake-prone zone, as that coronal hole is right in the Earth-facing region, folks. And we are still seeing a lull, a drought of magnitude 7+ earthquakes. So remember, since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.